Welcome everyone to the New Fly Fisher. I'm your host, Bill Spicer. On today's show, we join Mike Verhoef of Fly Fitters Guide Service, and we're going after steelhead. Now Mike's going to show us exactly what we need to do to take these steelhead. We'll talk about equipment, flies, and setup. It's going to be a great show, so stay with us. We'll be right back. That was awesome.
Let him go back to live another day.
Oh, baby.
Look at that fish.
World record!
We talked earlier about having the optimum conditions. Here we've got perfect conditions.
This is a good example of the family Heptageneidae.
This is why you need a lot of backing.
On today's show, the New Fly Fisher crew are just outside the town of Godrich on Ontario's west coast. This picturesque town, with its friendly people, great restaurants, and very comfortable accommodations, is where the mighty Maitland River empties into Lake Huron. The Maitland River runs for 150 kilometers and is as wide as a half a kilometer in spots. It's here we meet up with Mike Verhoef, owner of Fly Fitters Adventure and Guide Service. Mike is not only a great guide, but one of the deadliest steelheaders I have ever met. With his intimate knowledge of the river and his expert advice and coaching, I'm sure this will be a successful outing.
Basically, a steelhead is it's quite simple. It's a migratory rainbow trout. If the rivers here in Ontario stayed cold enough, the rainbow trout or steelhead would live in them all season long. But they don't, so they migrate back to the lake, live the summers there, and then they migrate into the system to spawn. So it's a migratory rainbow trout. So basically, steelhead start to run, around early fall, October, and then they're in the system right until they're done spawning in the spring, and then they migrate back to the lake. So the best key times along Ontario's west coast would be the first 2 weeks of November in the fall, and then the first 2 weeks of May in the spring.
I thought it was snagged on the bottom. A small one hit just at the last minute. Well, persistence pays off. I was swinging the fly in front of me here and putting it on the dangle, and Mike says to leave it on the dangle for a little bit. Let it just hang. And a lot of times the fish will follow along with the fly, and when you first move it, that's when they hit it. And that's what happened here. It was just stripping in, and bang, he hit it. Now, he took it, he really hit it hard right at the end when he took it. I was surprised. I was thinking that I was getting ready for another cast, and I thought I might have snagged up. But just goes to show you, it can surprise you at any time. This time of year, the fish are hardy, the water's cold, and they fight hard. There he is there. Very good. Oh yeah, nice.
Look at that leech hanging out of the mouth.
Got him? All right. Now that is a beautiful fall steelhead. Beautiful fall steelhead. And he took it right in the lower jaw there. There we go, got it. Now, just
nice, fresh, heavy Maitland steelhead, true genetics, not a clipper.
Yeah, yeah.
See, they're good. It's been in probably about 2 weeks since the last big flow we had.
Yeah, it's a male. Bit of a kipe in the jaw there.
Just a little bit of a kipe start.
Yeah.
You got the color always starts on the cheek patches first. Nice silver color. We'll let him go
and away he goes. Now, Mike, let's talk a little bit about flies for the area. Any specific patterns that you're really stuck on?
Yeah, Bill, there's a few consistent of the good old favorites of mine. I really like the traditional hare's ear, pheasant tail. A few of these are some specialty patterns, an evil weevil, copper john, a shrimp pattern. But when it comes down to it, hare's ear is probably my #1 go-to fly.
It is with about everybody else too,
yeah,
isn't
not
it?
to mention. That's when you're doing the nymphs, and obviously steelhead, a big time of year, they're feeding on eggs. And single aid patterns, you'll notice here I have multiple colors. If I was to pick one, I like peach, but more natural looking than anything. But I've caught them everything from the bright greens to the dull yellows.
Now, water conditions dictating where you go with them as far as whether you use a bright colored fly or a dull colored fly?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's important.
Time of year, flow, how fast they get a look at it.
Right.
And then along with color, obviously, is size.
Right.
You know, a bigger one maybe in some colored water and a nice small, realistic looking one in clear water. Another pattern we've been using today, Bill, that's obviously worked very well has been the good old traditional egg-sucking leech. You know, here's one of my favorite ties right there, fairly simple, but using an orange bead of any sort and purple on the back end.
How'd you take that fish there, Mike? Oh man, he's just a whizzing there, isn't he?
Oh, he's just giving her.
Yeah. What did it feel like when you took it?
He just picked it up. Oh, gone.
Oh man.
Gone.
Oh. Well, describe to the camera exactly what you were doing there when the fish took. Even though with like steelheading, you don't land them all.
Yeah.
If you land a percentage, you're doing well.
That's exactly it.
So that gave us some excitement there.
I'll tell you exactly what I was doing.
So you had the egg-sucking leech?
Just cast it straight out from us, just let it sink to the bottom. It was just I could just feel it wrapping along the bottom, nice and easy. And all of a sudden it just tightened up and it was a good head shake. So he didn't smash this one. Usually when you're drifting this through, they smash it. And they nail it hard and it's nothing. He just picked up, I tightened it. You saw what he did. Big run over there. I thought I had a good hook set. He jumped once, spit the hook, and gone.
Now I noticed you got the bigger fly over top of the smaller fly. Any reason for that?
This is the fly that I want to get down and stay at the bottom, and I want this fly to nice and pretty dangly drift behind that. And a lot of times, whether it's true or not, I think a fish will see this as an attractor, and they'll either come in and nail it, and then all of a sudden they'll see this little nice scrumptious meal behind it and grab it. So I play around a lot with this fly. Sometimes it's a nymph, sometimes it's a single egg, sometimes it's a real small egg-sucking leech or a little wet fly. So,
oh, good.
Let's get at her.
Yeah, let's get at her.
Get another one.
There are two rigging setups we use today. The first is a floating line to a sinking leader and 8 feet of 8-pound fluorocarbon tippet to an egg-sucking leech. The second setup is a floating line attached with 4 feet of 16-pound test monofilament. This is tied to a swivel, which has 10 feet of 8-pound test fluorocarbon with a double surgeon's knot, to 20 inches of 6-pound test fluorocarbon, to a 2-fly rig of an egg-sucking leech on top, to a hare's ear nymph on the bottom.
So for tactics for fishing for steelhead, there's basically nymph fishing with indicators or nymphing without indicators. You know, in that situation, I use a 7-weight, 10-foot rod, but you know, 6, 7, 8-weight rod would be fine there with floating line. The other tactic we use is swinging flies, and there you're using usually a sink tip or add-on sink tip line, a little heavier, so an 8-weight, maybe even a 9, but 8-weight preferred, with floating line again or a sink tip line. Along with you know, 7, 8-weight rod. Probably more importantly on a river such as this or bigger water is a very good disc drag system reel, large arbor reel that holds your fly line and a decent amount of backing. But more importantly, large arbor for the retrieval sake, so you can keep up to those fish. Bill, I'm going to put on one of my favorite egg-sucking leeches on this river. Basically big orange beaded purple leech. And it's tied out of one complete marabou feather, which gives it lots of movement.
Yeah, marabou is a good material to be using for your flies, right? Right,
very. Just because of the movement. Between it and rabbit, you know, those are the two materials that move the most. But to add movement to this fly, I do something kind of neat, and I use a bow knot basically on here, or a loop knot. And that helps the fly with some extra movement. Now, one thing I've done with the tip here is I've added a little bit of split shot, and we're on a sink tip here. And we'll get it out in the water, and I want you to swing, starting casting straight out with a nice slow presentation, going down till it tails out or dangles, and then we're going to do a little retrieve. You're going to get the pickup either just as it starts to swing through, kind of on a dead drift, or as it swings around, and always make sure you leave it there on the dangle.
It's important on the dangle to give it a few minutes anyways, or a few seconds.
Sometimes what will happen is the fish will pick it up, they'll see it, and they'll follow it in on the dangle, and they'll be sitting there looking at it. As soon as you go to take it away, that's
when they hit it,
That'll make that strike.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. I'll give it a cast over there. And
perfect.
Bit of a min,
one little mint. Just let it go down.
And then just let it swing.
And just let her tighten up. The funnest part about this fishing is the hit that you get, obviously, when they pick it up. Sometimes they pick it up pretty slight, other times they smash it. And that usually depends on time of year and obviously water temperature. But best part about this is we can cover water quickly compared to nymphing. Nymphing, you got to work right in front of you. This water, it's kind of like a spin fisherman casting a Cleo or a spoon. They can cast and cover a lot of water in a hurry. Same thing here. And usually we're going after the aggressive fish with this type of fishing.
Yes, this is definitely for the aggressive ones.
That's right.
I was just swinging the fly around, and all I felt was a stop, almost like a tightening of the line. I set the hook, and away we went. Now this one, as you see, I was stripping inline because he ran towards me. Now I got him on the reel. And this feels like a decent fish. Mike was right, the fog is helping. Now he's run way downstream on me, and I'm very, very concerned about it. Fighting him gingerly. If he decides he wants to run, I'm letting him run. That's important when fighting any kind of big fish. When they decide they want to run, you got to let them. Don't try to resist it. As long as you can pull them in, pull them in. But you see them, feel them resist, and you can feel them, let them run. And he's coming back. He's cooperating with us here. He's heading back this way. Very good fish.
Just at the head of the pool, he picked that fly up, eh?
There he goes. Which we'll talk about the tactic itself with Mike when we're done here. How we're taking apart these pools. We're not just barging into a pool. We're starting at the top and working our way down.
Nice.
Good fish.
Nice little hen.
Ready? And nicely done. All right.
Look at that nice egg-sucking leech right in the corner of the mouth there. So that's a fully purple marabou egg-sucking leech with a big orange bead. And it's tied out of one complete feather, which makes it you can see how it's moving in the water there, just out of the mouth. I'll simply go in and unhook that. It's a very nice prime steelhead hen, pushing about 5 pounds maybe. Great shape. We'll let her go for another day.
Now, Mike, can you tell us a little bit about this super nymphing that you got? It's a long line nymph, and how you gain control with your line. This is really important for the control. Show us how you do this.
Yeah, right on. So one thing, just to show how long this actually is, I'm holding a 10-foot rod here, and you can see how much further down below my rod the flies are in the water. So I'm running about a 12 to 13-foot lead underneath my indicator. And the big thing with control, if you're going to do any kind of casting, which I don't recommend at all, it's more just a fling out and fling up and out. Big thing is to keep it taut on the, from when the flies hit the water to the indicator, you want it to sink and be taunted all the time. And very critical to control your loose line as it goes down.
That's very important there.
Very
you can lose a fish in a second on that.
If you don't have control of the line and ready for that hook strike, you're going to miss the fish every time. And more importantly than anything, the hook strike has to be down along the water. And if you notice when you watch my rod, as soon as I pull down along the water, there's a bend in my rod right away, and a good strong bend, and that's because of the resistance of the fly line moving through the water. Yeah. As soon as I go to lift my rod, there's nothing there, and you're going to miss the fish every time.
You miss the fish. You put slack into the system.
A matter of controlling line, it's just a matter of having all your line below you here, and you just let out the line as it takes it. You notice this nice straight line going to the indicator. Right. As soon as the fish takes that, I can clamp, set, and we're gone.
The Maitland River offers many hidden runs that have not been fished, in some cases, for years. Mike stopped the boat at one of his favorite hot spots and suggested we get out and wade. Okay, I've been running a nymph with Mike's nymph set up here, and I'm running right on the edge of this hole here.
It's about the third cast for me. This is wonderful. Float went down, set the hook, and I'm into him. And it looks like a decent fish too. Now we're in the water now, so control is a little bit different. And it's heading right over for Mike. Oh, well, as with steelheading, you don't land them all. But we're under an indicator here. I'll see which one I think maybe I broke off. So we have our indicator. I'm in about, looks about 10 feet of leader. And well, he just let go. So, but that's exciting. Oh man, this nymphing technique really works. You just got to be persistent with it.
So I just hooked onto a nice steelhead here, nymphing. One of my favorite pools here on this river. And it was just a matter of figuring out the presentation. What I was doing wrong, what I figured out was I was casting too far upstream and my flies were dragging. This was a second cast, casting straight out and a little down. And I know this pool quite well, and it's a matter of finding where the fish are. It was my second drift through the tail out on the one end. And watching my indicator down, I had a nice tight line going to the indicator. And there's a very distinctive difference between when the indicator goes down on a fish and a rock. A rock, it'll turn and slowly go down. This one went straight down and sideways, so I knew a fish was on. So one of the issues I have in this run and fish off is a lot of rocks. And he just hit one there. That's why I was holding my rod as high as I was. And when we're fighting fish in this big current, you can see the water I'm in. Simply pulled the hook out. I'm pretty sure both flies are there, but we'll soon see. The other thing I did there is I switched, I was running 2 single legs and I just switched to a caddis pupa. Yeah, both flies are here. So hook just pulled out. Typical in big water fishing with all that stress. Yeah, I got a scale on my hook. Never bent the hook or nothing. I'm using a real strong hook. That's steelheading on big water. When it comes to dressing for, especially for steelhead conditions, which is fall and spring, you can get anything from cloud to sun to rain to cold. Same as anything else, you want layers and you want to be warm. You can always take layers off, but you can't add them if you don't have them. Myself, I 3 layers of socks with a polypropylene layer to my skin, which absorbs moisture. Then I have a pair of warm insulations type sock, and then over top I have a pair of wool sock. I buy my waders a size extra larger for in the wintertime so I can accommodate that. Inside my waders I wear fleece, basically 2 layers, long underwear fleece, and then a pair of fleece pants over top. And up top, same thing. Turtleneck, very important, keep my neck warm with a couple layers, a good windproof jacket, and then over top my outer shell would be a waterproof, windproof jacket as well. When it comes to your hands, that's one of the toughest things we run into fly fishing in cold weather. We have to get our hands wet to control fly line and operate a fly rod. I find wool, good old rag wool, to be the simplest. I've tried everything else, and when it comes down to it, that seems to work the best.
It's very important to follow the line with your rod tip as it drifts through the run. This keeps a tight line from the tip of your rod to the fly, making it easy to detect strikes. These strikes can be anything from an arm-wrenching slash to simply the line stopping. If you feel this, you must set the hook.
Using all the 7-weight that I can to move this fish. It's definitely strong. Taking everything of the 7-weight to move this fish. Now he wants to go for a run again. Every time that fish decides it wants to go for a run, I let it. I do not resist it. I let it go. I only bring it in when I feel it will come in. Now you see it's running again. I'm letting him go.
Yeah, I cleared the water there. It looked like about a 7-8 pound.
Come towards me now.
Good.
My arm's getting tired, buddy. Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. Gotta love fall steelheading. Okay, yes.
And top it all off, hook is out of the fish's mouth.
Oh, the hook come out, did it?
Yeah.
Well, it just made things easy on us. Now let's have a look at that, Mike. I'm very excited about this. You know, fall steelheading isn't about numbers. It's about quality of fish and how hardy they are and how much they fight. This is a wonderful fish here. Let's put him back in the cradle. There we go. There you go.
Another fine, beautiful steelhead taken here on Ontario's west coast. Bill, thanks for joining me today. See what lovely river here has to offer. I've always said fly fishing for steelhead's about quality, not quantity. For you out there, if you want any more information about today's episode or any of the other shows the New Fly Fisher does, please visit the website, www.newflyfisher.com. Thanks for joining us today. You take care. Tight lines.